So we're also in this chapter going to talk about problem 2.2 in creating a histogram. So we're going to go again back to the textbook and look at a particular problem and work completing a histogram. So in problem 25 on page 64 of your textbook, the following problem is about batting averages. So the following frequency distribution presents the batting averages of Major League Baseball players who had 300 or more plate appearances during the 2012 season. How many classes are there? Well, we can count that, right? Let's see here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 classes, right? These are batting averages, and that's the class intervals, right? So we had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 of those, right? So there were 9. What is the class width? Well, the class width is equal to, the first one is 0.18. Well, actually what we need to do, hold on just a second, is 0.20 minus 0.18, right, which is 0.02, right? So the class width is 0.02. We just took these two class intervals, and if you subtract the first, the beginning interval of the two classes, that gives you the class width, right? So in this case, it's just 0.02. And then it says construct a frequency histogram. Well, we're not going to do it that one because we created a frequency bar chart, and it's basically the same idea. You would have to look at the maximum and minimum of the frequency to create the y-axis, and your x-axis would of course be your batting averages for intervals. But what I am going to create is a relative frequency. Well, the relative frequency distribution is right here. But we're going to create what's called a relative frequency histogram, just to show you how that transpires. So that's the next step. And then we'll answer the question, what percentage of players had batting averages of 0.300 or more, right? So let's take a look at the next slide. So in creating the histogram, and this is going to be a relative frequency histogram, we will do the x variable first. X is equal to batting averages. And I hope this comes out a little clear for you, so we can do this. We are going to start out at the first interval, which in this case is 0.18, and we're going to move up by the class width. In this case it's 0.2, and then it's going to be 0.22, and then it's going to be 0.24. I apologize for my writing small. 0.26, 0.28, 0.30, .32, .34. Okay, so those are the intervals on the x-axis, which is the batting averages. If we looked at the relative frequencies, we noticed that the maximum is about 0.22, and the minimum is right at almost 0, right? So we'll just go up by 5, well actually maybe let's see, 0, 2, 0. So this may be a disaster, right? 4. That's not going to work out. So we'll erase that, and we'll try to put a even number of frequent values on this other side here. Drawing this is kind of difficult. So I know I have to go from 0 basically to 0.22. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Right. Let's see. Let's make this 0.05, 0.10, 0.15, 0.20, 0.25. Well, that's probably, and then the next one would be 0.30. Okay. So now let's do the relative frequency measures. I will go ahead and draw my bars. So for the first one it was 0.015. That's really small, right? So there it is. Right, there's my first bar. The second one goes up to about 5%. So in this interval I have about 5%. You may want to go back and check to see. You should have written down the relative frequencies. For the interval 0.22 to 0.24, I had about 15.4% of the batters getting that range of batting averages. Between 2.4 and 0.24 and 0.26, I had about 22.1%, or so that's about where I'm at. It may be that's maybe a little too high. All right. So that's my bar for that. For batting averages of 0.26 to 0.28, I have about 21.7, which is about right there. And then for 0.28 to 300, batting average, we have about 0.19. Right. This is all very centered around the same values. Now if we get to batting over 300 to 320, we get about 10%, almost 11%. And then finally we have the last value, batting 0.32 to 0.34. We had, we had about 3% or 4%. No, we had Yeah, almost 4% there. Oh, I've got one more. I got one more to do. Right. I still have one more interval that I have to worry about, and that's 0.36, right? So I had batting averages up here, and that's very small. It's like less than one. There's just a few. In fact, there was only one person that fits that spell. So here is my, so this is my percent. Or actually, in this case, it's the relative frequency on this side here, and over here is batting averages, right? And it's 2012 batting averages. Okay, so that's the end of this problem.